Hey everybody. So I've had a few requests on how to do a DCC install on an older Atlas Roco model, and that's what I'm working on tonight. So I've done a lot of work to this New York Central locomotive. This is undecorated when I bought it, so of course I've decaled it. And the New York Central is not the correct font, but it looks okay to me. I'm not too worried about it. I still need to put decals in the number boards, but so far it's looking pretty decent. I had to put putty on the nose here because there was a like a headlight here, so I took that off, just puttied it in, and put a decal over it so you can't really see it. I also had to enlarge the coupler pockets here on the front and the back so that you could get a KD coupler box to fit through the opening, and that will pin in place. Now I'm not sure where the how far the couplers will stick out, but it might not be too bad. I don't think it's going to be too bad. Better than what was on there, that's for sure. So I guess this kind of gives us an idea. So a little further than what I would like. Maybe I can adjust it with a little glue. We'll get it in there. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. I might even be able to re-drill that hole in there. I don't know if you can see that, but we'll figure it all out. If nothing else, if I don't like the way the couplers sit, I'll just cut this part out, and I got some L-shaped piece of plastic like this right here. I'll put that in there, and the couplers will get secured to that with a screw in a different location, probably further back. So that's the shell in a nutshell. That's what I should have said. That'd be funny. Okay, so here is the original motor. I don't know which one is the positive and which one is the negative, and honestly, it doesn't matter. And you're probably asking why it doesn't matter, but let me tell you. I got the mounting bracket here someplace. I'll find it here before I put it all in. So this is an old decoder out of a like a Baldwin Shark or something like that. I believe it's a Tsunami non-sound. So these first two points right here, this is your LED headlight. This is your first power connection to the right side. This is your first power connection to the left side truck. These right here are your motor positive, motor negative, and let's see. I may have got that wrong. Now this is your, hang on a second. You know, some of these kind of confuse me every now and then, so what do? I just put down the original, and I look to see how it was hooked together. Yeah, I was right. Right side, left side, motor control, and then the rear wires came in right here. So I'll go ahead and show you that. Hopefully that's focused. And once again, this is non-sound, and I will end up just using some double-sided 3M tape like this. Just put a piece on top of the motor and stick this on top. Normally what I do with any install is I color coordinate right side with red and black side with, or the left side with black. But I'm not going to even mess with that this time because this is, for one, it's an experiment. Two, it's an old locomotive. I don't really think it warrants all that. And three, I'm not going to do a whole lot of extra work. So really all I'm going to do is I'm going to strip the ends of these leads and I'm going to tin them. And all that means is you're going to put a little bit of solder on there. I will put the motor back in, put the gear or the drive shafts back in, tape this down. I will double check clearances because I really don't want to be able to see the board in the cab. So I'll double check the clearances and see if I can move that back a little bit. And if I can't get it to look right, then I will end up removing this truck and putting on new leads. And I'll show you all that stuff if I decide to do it. But right now I'm going to go ahead and gather up all my parts, make sure I got everything. I got my solder. This stuff is the best. This is electronics grade. And then I have my, well, I guess that's my flux, not my solder. And here is my solder itself. Now this already, this is electronics grade also, so you really don't need to put any flux on your board. And it's an oil base, so once again, when it gets hot, it'll go all over the place, so you don't want to even mess with that. So you can even solder this without any of the flux whatsoever. For electronics purposes, I'm not talking about rail or anything like that. So let me get this stuff put together, and we'll get this done. All right, well, while I was grabbing all my parts together, I went ahead and decided to take the front truck off, and I went ahead and removed the two power leads on here. So I got my new red one and my black one. I'll trim the tips off about maybe 1/16 of an inch on each end. That's probably about maybe 1 millimeter for you metric guys. And I will go about reconnecting all that. Now, I'm not going to show you all that. That's pretty basic stuff. But if you don't know how to solder, this might be one of those things where you may want to watch some videos on soldering and all that stuff. It's really not hard. I actually taught myself how to solder by watching a couple of videos and just practicing basically. So just stand by, and once I get all this stuff put together, I'll start by putting this back in and attach the wires, and then when I get the motor in and the gears and all that stuff, I'll bring you back and I'll let you watch how I solder all this stuff in, and then we'll test it and see if it works. All right, so I got the red wire on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to solder it into this little small space right there. There's a little groove right there on the right side of my index finger that the wire goes into, so you got to be kind of precise. So I'll show you how I do this. Now, if you haven't seen this contraption before, this is something I came up with, and all it is a 2x6 and a bunch of like a little spacer and a bunch of clothespins that are glued down to it. And what that does is give me a stable, like a third set of hands that will allow me to do just about everything I need to do when it comes to soldering. Every now and then, though, it'll fly out, so you gotta be mindful of what you do. We'll get in there. Trying to do this where you can see. We'll see what we got here. All right, and there you go. You got to be mindful, because if you have a soldering iron like this, you can hit the plastic and melt the plastic. Every now and then, I can smell that stuff. So, I'll give you a close-up here. Now, the wires I had on here originally, or the original wires that were on here originally, were long enough, but I want to put this decoder back a little bit further. So to do so, I just lengthened these out a little bit. And these are actually way too long, but it doesn't really matter. There's plenty of room up in there for them to sit. So what I'll do is I'll strip about 1/16 of an inch off of each end. That's about 1 millimeter or so. And I'll tin this up, and then I'll put this back on the frame and get the motor back in there, get the drive shafts in there, and then we'll go to soldering everything else. Shouldn't take long after this. All right, so I got the motor in, the axles in. I forgot to tell you all to clean the positive and the negative on the motor, and then solder on your leads. Being that I'm not sure which one is orange, and which one is gray, positive and negative, that is. And orange and gray are the normal colors for NMRA, the standard set for the, different wires from different colors and where they go. So I just went with white on both of them. So if you put this together, just like I'm doing, and you have your, you go to test it, and instead of going forward, it goes backwards. All you got to do is go to CB29, change 0 to 1, turn your system off, turn it back on, and it'll go forward. So this one will come here, this one will come here. I gotta pull this out. Red goes here, black on this side. And I will take these and cut these down and put these over just like that. Sorry about that. I'm trying to look at the camera and how I want to do this. And that's just the way it is. So actually, I'm going to run these up through these holes here and then over to here. Be a little bit better. And then that should be about it. I might take this up this way and wrap it around. That way there's no possibility of it getting pinched on the sides. So that's probably what I'll do. Just like that. There we go. Let me get this all set up. We'll cut these, tin these, and get everything else ready, and then bring it back. All right, so I'm ready to solder everything to the circuit board there. Let me try to zoom in here. All right, so once again, these two white ones are the positive and negative motor lead. They will solder to this point and this point. I have the left side wire and the right side wire ran through this hole. Black wire will go here, red wire will go here. These two wires have been cut and tinned. They'll come through these holes and solder to these points right here. At that point, it should be ready to roll. I'll do a test off camera, of course, just in case there's any issues. And then I'll put it all together and show you how it's done. Now, I already soldered the headlight on there, of course, and I'm really not sure if this decoder needs a resistor or not. I'll find out very quickly when I turn it on. This has been recycled out of another locomotive, so if it gets burned out, it gets burned out. But once again, there's a positive and a negative to the LEDs. On these LEDs, the red wire is a positive. Normally, when you buy LEDs, they come with a resistor on there. Like this, and the resistor is on the positive side. So if you cut that off, you just need to remember which side that came off of. I got a ton of those. I thought I was out, but I am not. All right, let's get to work here. I'm gonna start with this back side because it's easier. Make sure I'm still in the camera. Make sure it stays right there and I don't move it. Let's see. There we go. This is what I need. You always want to make sure you leave enough wire that the truck has room to move around. I about burned my finger off right there. And that's that. And these wires here just tuck under. You're good to go. G to G. Now, if you've watched my channel for a while, you know I talk a lot about Hobby Lobby. And this is one of the best things I've ever bought at Hobby Lobby. I think it's like $14 or $15. You know, of course, you know, you got your little sponge there to clean off your tip with, which I never use, and I just got crap on it. And but it holds your soldering iron, your soldering gun, whatever, pretty good, and I like it. About the best thing I've ever bought. All right. Oh, I forgot to tin these up. So let me cut these and tin these. I'll bring you right back. All right, got them tinned up and we're ready to go. So far it looks pretty clean. Now, if I remember right, this decoder does work. I'll be pretty pissed off if I put a bad decoder in there, but I took this out of a Baldwin Shark, not Baldwin Shark, out of a Bachmann Baldwin Shark. And what I had done was I put in I think a non-sound decoder, like a Digitrax or something like that. And it worked out pretty well. The problem with those locomotives is not the decoder, it's I think the axles. Either the axles in the truck, or where the axle or the drive rod, drive shaft, and the motor shaft come together. So I'm not quite sure what the issue is, but it just sounds like it's slipping, but it's not going nowhere. There we go. So once again, right side to the right side leads, left side to the left side leads, headlight positive to the negative, and positive motor lead, negative motor lead. And once again, I don't remember which one is which. We'll find out when we get started. Now the wheels are pretty dirty on this, so I'm pretty sure it's not going to run very well. Once I make sure that the decoder works, I will go through and clean the wheels, and then I'll bring you back for a test ride. Now I haven't made any of the coupler boxes yet for it, so it won't have couplers when you see the test, but I'll probably work on those later on tonight and get them put in. All right, let's see what this thing does. All right, so I got it all wired up. You can see the motor moving. Now these old motors, this is probably from the 70s, it pulls a lot of juice, and I got that on speed step 28. And I'm on the 28 speed step system right here. Now, it did run. It ran around the layout about halfway, and it ran pretty decent once it started going, but just getting it going. And I tried to clean the wheels, but I can't get it to run far enough to clean the wheels. Now the wheels are pretty filthy for one thing. My track's a little dirty for another, but at the same time, you know, there's a moral to this story, and that's these old locomotives don't deserve DCC. So don't waste your time, don't waste your money, unless you want to put some extra effort into it or some extra work into it. But honestly, there are better models out there to work on, to get working with good DCC and everything. But if you really want to convert one of these old Roco Atlas units, you know, you're welcome to do it, but it's going to be run just like that. I know this motor runs because I hooked it up to DC and ran the piss out of it, but it just doesn't. It's just pulling too much. Now, another reason it's not running well is this is a cheap decoder. My Bachmann Baldwin Sharks, they kind of do the same thing. It takes them a long time to get going and everything, but you know, maybe it's a combination of a crappy old motor and a crappy decoder. But hey, you know, leave me a comment, leave me a like, tell me what I did wrong. Make sure you subscribe, and I may try to remotor this at some point since I have that motor that came in. Where's it at? I got it someplace, but it might work out well in this if I can find adapters for the the flywheels. So let me show you what I'm talking about real quick. This motor right here might be a good substitute. But at the same time, this is an old engine with below average detail. And maybe I don't even need to mess with it no more. But tell me what you think. Like, subscribe, comment. Come back Sunday and watch the layout update. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one.